Morning, folks, and thanks for tuning in this morning. This is Red Bearded Builder here with you, formerly known as GK Building and Remodeling. Company's still the same name, but I've been trying to come up with some kind of catchy name for the channel, and I thought Red Bearded Builder would fit in pretty good. My wife hates the red beard, but she likes a more clean cut, you know, kind of short beard, but I always wanted to grow out a beard, but that's another story. Anyway, this video is about mobile homes. It's 2024. And I've made a video the past 2 years that has done great on should you buy a mobile home. In today's video, I thought about this a lot over the last month or so, and I've wanted to get this out a little earlier, but my opinion has not changed. I still say that if you can at all, stay away from double wides, manufactured homes, for the simple fact of, it seems like to me more and more the quality has went way downhill. They seriously do not have any kind of quality control at all. And there's some things I'm going to show you towards the end of this video to try to confirm what I'm saying. We've lived here for 3 years now. I've lived in it, and no, I don't regret buying my mobile home, my manufactured home. It's been a nice home for us to raise our kids in the last 3 years. My wife loves her house. But it's just things that I see because I'm a builder. I'm a contractor. I remodel houses. We do all kinds of construction work. So there's things that I see that I know in the next 4 or 5 years they're just not going to last. And it's things that could have been prevented and not a big profit margin that they would have lost if they would have did a little more quality products in the beginning and would have did some even like vinyl siding. They just took the time and did it better. But guys, I appreciate you watching. I'm going to go over a few things. So guys, like I was saying, in 2024 has my opinion changed. And I would say no, if you can, you know, I know in some areas of the country, you know, a house, like a 1,500 square foot house in some places is $500,000. But you know, where I live, thankfully, things are not that expensive yet. You can buy a 1,500 square foot pretty nice house from $150 to $220 all day long. But you know, like I said, I've told you all in the past, little price breakdown. We gave $97,000 for this house, $20,000 for the piece of ground it sits on. The house is financed, but we were able to pay cash from our last home sale for the land. And we did about $15,000, $15,000 to $20,000 worth of work around here. And you know, we had this house appraised 2 years ago before we did a lot of the work, and it appraised for almost $150 then. I'm thinking now it appraised for more around the $160 to $170 range, going off comparative, whatever they call those, on Zillow and stuff. If you go and find comparison homes to compare this one to, I think there'd be no problem selling it around $170. But, so right now it is a good investment. But 20 years from now, a manufactured home's not going to hold, or 30 or 40 years from now, is not going to retain its value like a stick-built home would. We got into this, we're not going to stay here unless it be the Lord's will forever, but say we got into this and we planned on living here 30, 40 years and we paid it off, would it be a bad investment? No, but we're not going to retain that value and even grow in value like a stick-built home would. But here's some things, that's just a little overview of my opinion on if manufactured homes retain their value. Now, single wides, they do not retain their value at all unless you got them on a big piece of ground. So I wouldn't recommend to buy those for an investment at all unless you're getting like a trailer park or something. But that's just my opinion on that. I'm going to go over some quality issues here. And if you have any questions, I can go into deeper content on any of these topics. If you'd like to see a video on some of this stuff that just by itself, I don't care a bit to do that. Just leave a comment below. Say, hey, I'd like to see a video on price breakdown on everything you've done at your house. Or, hey, I'd like to see a video on what you think about single wides. Or what you think about this, what you think about that. I would do that for you guys. I appreciate it. And if you leave me a comment below. And hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. Guys, if you see here, I've said this before, the trim is super flimsy. It's like 1/8 inch, not even 1/8 probably. And I've nailed this back on 3 or 4 times. Kids playing in the house. You can hear the kids in the background, they run through. This is my daughter's little playroom. I made that for her. It's their playroom and my daughter's schoolroom. She's homeschooled. And if you see here, the trim is super flimsy. And you can see in here, the back door was really, really not energy efficient. It was one of them real thin, mobile home doors. So we ripped that thing out, put this new door in. There's a video about me hanging these cabinets for my wife and surprising her. And in that video, I changed this door out as well. Used to, you could come in here, and that old it had glass in it as well. But that old door, there'd be water running down this in the winter it was very unenergy efficient, or however you say that. But this new door's great. It is an in-swing. Well, it's sleeting out there. It is an in-swing door. So I am going to have to cover this back porch now, because it's not good to have an in-swing house door with just 6-inch overhangs. That's another problem with manufactured homes. They have very small overhangs, so your windows and doors are getting an extreme amount of weather on them. And the next issue, let's see if we can zoom in here. I know it's sleeting, but look at that vinyl siding. The sheathing's bowed out, vinyl siding's popping off the whole back of this house. I installed vinyl siding. It was not installed correctly at all. Actually, some of the worst install I've ever seen on vinyl siding. And the problem with that is that I pulled off a couple pieces to see. And so we bought an extended warranty on this home, so the other side was worse than that side. They came out and they actually pulled the other side off and had to cut out a piece of sheathing where it wasn't nailed good from the manufacturer and put a new piece of sheathing in. And they had to take and nail that vinyl siding back with tacks the way it's supposed to be done. They use these little staples to nail the vinyl siding on, and those staples nail too tight. And where they nail too tight, when the vinyl siding's tight, vinyl expands and contracts when temperature changes, and it causes it just to pop loose. So this whole back of the house now, the side done it first, they come and fixed it. And I want to call them. I paid for the extended warranty. Yes, I could fix it myself, but I paid like $800 for a 5-year extended warranty. So we're going to call them, have them come out and fix that. Just things like that you shouldn't have to worry about. If I put vinyl siding on a stick-built home, a new build, in 3 years, the vinyl siding's not going to be falling off. If it is, I didn't do something right. But, I was talking about just things like that, just things that could be preventable. And it seems like, it seems to me, and I know there's some custom home builders who don't care, they're just throwing houses together. But find a builder, if you can, who cares about what he's doing, loves his job, and he'll do a good job for you. It's one of those things where every job I do, I try to make sure it's done the way I would want it done. And if we had more people that even worked like that, if Clayton Homes had people that cared about their jobs, or even whoever runs Clayton Homes cared about their job, they would make sure those things are done right. They wouldn't try to pinch pennies, and I know it's faster for them to have a nail gun and put the vinyl siding on, but if it's better to put it on with tacks, why not take the extra? Maybe it would take an hour longer to do it with tacks versus doing it with a staple gun. But in the long run, if it's done right, you're not going to have to worry about it. But here I was going to show you guys too. This is regular casing trim like you get from Lowe's. Just look how much better that looks. You can run into that. You can beat on it. It's not going to move. It's not going to go nowhere. I don't know why in the world they can't put good trim in these houses. They're not cheap. One thing I do like about this house, it does have a kind of fancy breaker box. A Lenovo or a Leviton. It's pretty fancy if you ask me. Alright, another thing I don't like, the girls' bathroom. This is a ground fault breaker. And that ground fault breaker also controls the 2 ground fault plugs in our other bathroom. So if my wife's in there going to straighten her hair and it won't work, the issue is she has to go all the way into the girls' bathroom and flip the ground fault back on to get her straightener to work. And that can be very, very aggravating. And to me, that's just really chintzy. I mean, I know it's going to cost them a little more money to put some ground fault breakers in the other bathrooms, but I don't think that should be how that's ran. So guys, another issue is, yes, from the outside looking in, these cabinets look good. And that's one thing I was excited about. We bought this house in just kind of a hurry and didn't really check out the cabinets. I just seen, man, those cabinets look really nice. And they're called Duracraft. Dura, durability. Design meets durability, and it's definitely a lie. It's probably my least favorite part of this house. Look, they don't even have backs in them. That's just the drywall back there. Then you look down here, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Have you ever seen a cabinet? They're cheap made when they got pieces of drywall underneath them. I've never seen that. And also, it's pretty sneaky. I'm 6 foot tall, and you can't see it unless you tippy-toe. But one day I was tippy-toeing, putting this stuff up in here. That's a piece of OSB. And they just nailed a little piece of face frame on it. I mean, that's the cheapest cabinets I've ever seen. I mean, at least use some like nicer press board. I mean, I know this is stronger than press board, but I mean, it looks pretty cheesy. At least put some laminate over it. Then if you look over here, close to her stove, where these are just cheap cabinets, this whole cabinet's starting to peel off. The whole face is coming off of it. And my wife runs the vent fan whenever she's cooking, so I know that's not the issue. It's happening over here too. This side's peeling off. Just very, very cheap. You look down here, trim fell off this corner, trim broke off this corner. These cones around these little legs around the island, that trim is coming apart on all of them. I already had to put new drawer slides. They put these giant drawers in and put little cheap chintzy drawer slides. So every time you would open this thing, it would just fall on the ground. So I took and put new drawer slides on it. That way that we can actually put stuff in this giant drawer. One thing I can say that they did pretty good is we really haven't had any issues with this farmhouse door. It's been pretty good. This one, my wife says it's unlevel, but it does look a little unlevel to the eye, but we really not had any issues out of it. So it's a pretty good built door. It's actually out of solid wood. This pantry, it's been all right. Hadn't had any issues with it. Another problem we do have is if this coffee area, little coffee nook, if you're running the coffee pot and the wife has something plugged in the master bedroom at the same time running, it'll kick the breaker. But that's just because they got all that stuff ran on 15-amp breakers. And I mean, I could go on and on all day long, but I'm just showing you some stuff, that's kind of aggravating. I mean, you pay that much money, it'd be different if, you could get in a double wide for $40,000 or $50,000. If this double wide cost me $50,000, I'm like, man, this thing's cheap. Very reasonable price. Ain't got nothing to complain about. But, we have almost $100,000 for this house. And, I figured up material to build this house. I could build this house, just me going buying stuff at Lowe's for $50,000. So, it's one of them deals where I know they're making huge profit margins on these things. And, spend a few, I mean, it ain't like it's a ton of money. I'm sure they don't get these cabinets super cheap. Why not just get some regular cabinets, some cheaper actually wood cabinets, something that's not going to fall apart. You can see where this face frame is sagging and it's split apart. And I mean, it's just a ton of issues. I've already replaced both doors. This door, cold air was coming in around it like crazy when we first got the house. And I pulled the old door out. They had no spray-in insulation, no kind of insulation at all around that door. So we replaced it when we first got it. There's a video on my channel of that. And, I mean, there's a ton of things that I could keep going on about. But, I mean, I think you get the point. I'm not saying that you should never buy a manufactured home. We bought one because we needed a house in a pinch. We needed one. We sold our house, and we was staying with some family members, and we'd been there for a couple months. And so we got us a double wide. They had it here and set up less than a month. And yeah, it's worked out for us right now. But I'm just giving people options. Just think things through. You know, if you're actually not in a pinch or not in a rush and there's another avenue, it may be the better way to go. And like I said, not all custom builders are great either. And it's windy and cold out here. I'm sure you can find some of those who cut corners and do things cheap. But I'm here to tell you, Clayton Homes cuts corners. They do things as cheap as they possibly can. And at the end of the day, the house is structurally sound. We don't have any issues with that. Nothing's falling apart. Just simple little things that if they would have just took some care and time and would have just actually cared for what things turned out like, it would have been no big deal. But I appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If there's anything that I missed or you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you don't care. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. I love y'all. God bless you. Thanks for watching The Red Bearded Builder.